Okay, so a little while ago, I asked you guys to send me some words, which I will look through and pick one randomly. I have compiled them into this selection algorithm I have right here, and I am now going to enter my friend's Roll20 campaign, and why that happened? Why is this? Okay, real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I roll D7. Okay, it's 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Congratulations, Shaunothria. I will now craft a song based around the word ichor. Okay, what does that actually mean? The fluid that flows like blood in the vein of the gods. Joe, I swear to God, don't question me. Alright, I'm already getting a couple of ideas here, so it needs to be very, like, blood-like, if that makes any sense. Like, I want it to have, like, a sort of, like, red. What does that even mean? I don't know, there's certain synths that, I feel have a certain sort of quality to them. Like, this, for example. Or like, I don't know, something like maybe like this. This reminds me of like flowing blood, kinda. I don't know, I need to look through and figure out what I want to use. But I'm gonna use something sorta like this, and probably like some heavenly choirs for the whole, like, the gods aspect of this thing. I also want it to sort of feel like a pulsating, like, heartbeat kind of thing. So, what is the BPM, like the average heart rate? Oh, you know, I can't actually find, like, a specific number. Like, it says between 60 and 100, but I don't know if that's supposed to be an 80 or what. So I'm actually gonna, like, put my finger on, like, my neck and feel my own heartbeat and, like, tap it to that. So about 75 then. I also plan on using a lot of side chaining with like the volume, so it kind of like pulses up and down with the beat, but I'll show you that once I actually get something. I need to start working now. Alright, so this is what I got so far. I am not really sure what I'm doing. And then there's like this thing. So yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going with this quite yet. I'm using a bunch of like weird sound font stuff and this synth one thingy, and also this meat bass cello. Oh yeah, and this like D&B kick drum thing that I've got going in like a half heartbeat rhythm, which then later in the song I plan on going to like the full dun 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 dun, like that. Alright, so I've been working on this on and off for the past few days, and this is the most, like, disjointed way I have ever composed a song. Like, I've got this stuff going on in the beginning, but I just have a bunch of these little bits and pieces that I, like... I don't know what to do with these yet. I hope I find a place for them. Honestly, I'm probably not gonna find a place for this. I don't really know what I was thinking. I'm making progress, but I still need to figure out how to like glue this all together, and like I also have no idea what to put here yet. There's supposed to be like a big build up here, and then like something happens. I don't know, I just got these little drums. That's all I got. I am getting somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where, but I want this to lead into like, I want this right here to like be the big like battle music section kind of thing. This sound consists of that original bass from earlier. This bass down here, well, it's called a dance saw, but it sounds like really scary and growly on these really low notes. And I have this Ace Attorney square wave for some reason. I don't know, man. I just downloaded the sound file and I wanted to look through it. I found this, it works. It's just to add like an extra little... You don't have it. It's a lot more like vague, kinda. I don't know, I just like... I like it when you can kind of hear the notes of a bass line a little bit more. Then it turns into this. This gets a little bit more intense. I actually just stole this part from that one Team Fortress 2 song because I was watching a video of that game the other day and I was like, what if I do that thing that goes like dun 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 dun. That's another tip. If you are having trouble like thinking of things, do not be afraid to just steal something from some other song and then modify it so that it's like different enough. Because the TF2 song goes like... But this is like... So that's different enough. I already made a whole other video on that subject, so I will put that at the end of this one if you want to see. And then it'll like break into this right here. Dude, I don't even know what this is. This is like some weird synth 1 preset, and I just kind of put a bunch of notes that happen to be in the same key as each other. And after that part, there's like this whole deal going on over here. Which is like, it's a weird number of measures. It doesn't go like and extend off to here. It just kind of like does this weird thing where it ends early. Just to add to like the overall weird, confusing nature of this whole thing. And then like this will go into this somehow. Like this like... sort of calmer but more dramatic moment. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna end up having use for that. The main challenge in making a song like this is that you need to like be very careful about how you transition between things. Like, I need to figure out a way to make this subtly transition into this. Well, not necessarily subtly, but it just needs to not come out of absolute nowhere. So like maybe I want to tease this piano by having like something similar to it happen beforehand. Like you hear how that sounds a bit more natural just because you already heard the piano. It doesn't have this gigantic instrumentation shift. Basically, I'm writing all the dots and now I just need to make the lines connecting them. I think I am finally starting to get somewhere though. I've been working on this for about a week and I have been making like very little progress. I've just been doing it like off and on because I haven't really known what to do. And I guess my advice if you run into that sort of thing is to just like do things anyway, even if you don't know. Like this piano, for example, the notes right here are, it's like, it's technically an A7 chord. But the C sharp and the E and the G sharp are all like flipped down here. So it sounds all discordant because they're all like right next to each other. I knew I wanted some sort of like weird discordant piano thing, so I just like did that and then, you know, shifted it down. It's just the same notes, just like pitched down a little bit. I also made an animation clip for the pitch of this piano. And then I made this like weird wavy shape down here by right-clicking the thing and making it into a wave. Because I wanted it to sound all like detuned and stuff. And then after I made that, I was like, alright, what else can I do with that A7 chord? And I was like, wait, what if I... This is the same bass from earlier that I was like... It's just way higher up. And part of me was like, do I actually want this though? Because this is like kind of like weird and like, I don't know, but I just did it anyway and now I got something out of it. Did not mean to move that. Oh god, I need to get this perfectly in place again. Oh, while I still haven't like done anything with this yet, I might as well talk about, if you want something to sound like really powerful and intimidating, make sure there's a lot of like low end on your spectrum. Like you see all this down here? If I did not have as much you hear how much less powerful that sounds? Like that rumbling, it's like... This is like the deep booming voice of a powerful monster. I also did the same over here with this choir, without anything else, like just the choir that sounds like this. But then I added this cello section. And the cello also has its sub-region boosted a little bit, otherwise it doesn't sound as powerful. This is probably too loud. I may need to... Oh, no, that's around... Okay, yeah, that might be a little bit. I need to tweak this a little bit in the future. You usually don't want any one instrument to go above like 8 or so, like -8 decibels, unless you only have like 2 or 3 instruments in the entire song. Oh, I just realized I forgot to talk about this sound. So this is that same Ace Attorney square wave thing again. I made a bunch of notes here and I set the panning on them to like go like kind of go between the left and right ears, and I sent them to insert 7, and I automated this stereo separation thing right here, which when it's all the way up it makes them merged at like mono so that you don't hear that panning. And I right clicked and made an automation clip, which is this down here, which makes them like... It makes them fade from mono back into stereo again. And then I made this other thing down here. And for this, I just made the panning on each note the opposite of whatever it was on the original thing. So whenever this is in the left ear, this note is in the right ear. I also made sure, I was originally going to have it be something like something closer to that, but then I noticed like that interferes because you don't want 2 notes sounding at the same time. Like you hear that. It's just like redundant and kind of annoying sounding. So I made sure to alter the melody so that no 2 notes are at the same spot at the same time. Oh, I should also probably briefly go over this whole sidechaining thing because I just realized I forgot to talk about it. If you don't know what this is, it's basically just a thing you can do to make like kicks or whatever sound more powerful, or it can also be used to like duck the volume of the bass out whenever a kick happens so that like the low end of the frequencies isn't like too crowded. And you can use it on other instruments too, like my choir here, in order to give a more like rhythmic pulse to the whole thing, so that the volume of certain instruments kind of like flows with the beat. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to send your different instruments to these different mixer channels up here, and then the ones that you want to sidechain, send them all to another mixer channel that's like empty. So what you do is you like right click an empty one while you have this one selected, and you click route to this track only, and then you do that same thing on all of the ones that you want to sidechain into here. And then on this one you will create an automation clip of the volume, and then right click and copy the value of like, well, wherever it is that you want the maximum to be. I usually just like leave it right here, and then you paste it into the maximum thing of this thing that was created down here. And then you find your giant clip down here and you make it really tiny and you give it the whatever shape you want. So you just make one of these things and you like put it all over the place. Well, not like that, but you know. And then you can see this moving down and up whenever that happens. There is a somewhat simpler way of doing this with the Fruity limiter instead of automation clips, but that makes it happen every time the kick gets played, and because I have these two right in front of each other, it would essentially end up sounding like this. Like it would quickly get... Well, actually, I might actually like that. Hold on. You know, I think I'm changing my mind. I already went and did this, so there's not really much reason for me to bother with the Fruity limiter thing, but yeah, I'm gonna make it so that all of these are now hitting twice instead of once, because it kind of helps with the whole like heartbeat rhythm thing that I'm going for. Well, I have been procrastinating on this for a while, but it's okay because I finally got back to it. I had no idea what to put in this whole section over here, but I finally, like, I also didn't know what to put here, but I came up with this thing. I just made an automation clip for this pitch wheel. Just make sure when you do that, you remember to copy the value at its like default position, because otherwise if you don't do that, this will be like this by default, and then it'll like... Oh my god, I am so sorry. Yeah, that's probably not what you want. And then the drums. If your track ever sounds kind of empty, you probably don't have enough drums. And yeah, I actually found a use for that weird, like, thing that I didn't think I was gonna have a use for originally. The, what is the stabs 5000 parentheses asterisk. My favorite instrument is actually a pretty good fit for this song, because like it sounds all weird and detuned like all the time. Like this is an A7 chord, but on this thing it sounds like this. Like it's not quite right, which is perfect for this kind of song. So these are the notes. I did like some weird crazy stuff with them, like right here especially. I don't know. Also, I got this like weird... that's an emergency alert monthly test. I also got this like crazy kind of piano. When I was writing these melodies, I didn't even remember what key I was in when I did them. I just clicked on notes. Like, they don't have to sound remotely in tune with each other, because like it's supposed to sound really weird and discordant, so like whatever. And I have this here because I'm going to make like another piano thing and have it sound like crazier. I just don't know what I'm putting there yet. But anyway, the drums. So obviously there's, you know, our old kick. There's this snare, which is like very subtly pitch shifted. Where the hell is the... Here we go. I've got two hi-hats working in tandem with each other. I don't know what that noise is. And then like a secondary snare, which I have panned and pitch shifted. And a cymbal. This is just a cymbal. And some cymbal crashes and reverse cymbal crashes. So altogether, we've got this. I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna even bother adding reverb to it, because like the track is already very like crowded and like there doesn't really need to be any extra noise. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not MLP enough to know that you're supposed to add reverb to every single drum track. Oh yeah, you may have noticed that I removed the sidechaining on this part, and that's because if I do have it, it sounds like this. Like, it's just the bass line disappears. I need to figure out a way to deal with that. So I was extending this arpeggio here. And I was gonna copy and paste and like then move this where it should be and then move it up 2 octaves so it's like this. But then I noticed, hey, it kind of pasted it off a little bit. What does this sound like? And I moved it up a little bit. And I kind of like that better, so I'm doing that. And I made an automation clip for this thingy on the EQ. So that goes like that. Okay, so let me talk about this section for a second. The cello is the same choir with like the cello background that I had before there, but then I also added this right here. And for this I did the same like sort of EQ band thing that I just showed you, except like it goes in the opposite direction. I make the volume fade in over time. What this is Dungeon Man 2 from Earthbound. That's all it is. Oh yeah, I also put like some reverb and delay on it just a little bit. But yeah, the lower you hit those notes, the more it starts to sound like an Eldritch like monster speaking to you through the void. So I just put like a bunch of notes like semi-randomly, trying to like hide, because if I just have a bunch in a row like this that are like that, like you start to kind of hear the repetitiveness and you can tell it's all the same sound over and over. But if I make them more like calculatedly random, it becomes... okay, you can't even hear that right now. If I make it more intentionally random, then like it's harder to notice a pattern, so it all just starts sounding really weird and crazy. Jesus Christ. Okay, I really need to be like wrapping this up at some point soon, because this video is already way longer than I thought it would be, and this song is already like way more complicated than I thought it would be. I was not supposed to spend this much effort on this. I need to like figure out when to call it quits. Even if I'm not like totally done the song, I just need to like get it done enough so that I can like finish this video. So what have I been doing? Let's see, I added this as a thingy, it's just another weird synth 1 preset. I made the panning like this because I was gonna do panning like with the, oh my god, this is so disorganized right now. I was gonna like do this and then note pan and then switch these all around, but you can't do that with synth 1 and like certain things. It doesn't actually do anything. Like, see, so I had to do it manually with this. I also added some EQ to this, like that sound right there, because before it was like the whole thing was just kind of lacking in that region. Like there's barely any bass there, so I just added a little bit right here. It just wasn't sounding like nearly as powerful as it should have. I added some EQ to this piano as well, because I realized I should probably be doing this whole like mixing in mono thing, which like whenever you have something that's, especially something that's like this crowded and complicated and there's so many different instruments going on, it's helpful to listen to it like this. Just go on the master and you set this wheel all the way up here. And that lets you hear it without any like fancy stereo effects, which is important because some people on certain systems might not have great stereo or whatever. So I noticed that the piano is basically invisible, so I added some EQ to it to make it stand out more in the high end so you can actually hear it. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out what sort of big, dumb trance lead I want for this part right here, because this part still feels like kind of melodically empty. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, but not really any foreground sort of thing. This piano actually feels louder now when it's in stereo. Not really sure why that is, but I'm gonna counteract it by setting it like 50% merged. I do not like these sounds. I don't understand how people like this is like one of the only songs I'll ever make that uses something like this. That is actually pretty cool. I should use that in another song. What is... like, I just hit one note and that... okay. Mosquito synth. Mosquitoes drink blood. Sure. Yes, I'm going with this one. I wanna turn it down, maybe. I feel as though I am not mastering this whole thing very well. I am shocked that I'm not clipping at all. That is like, okay, that's a little bit too high for me. I'm gonna cut out some of that. Oh, look at all that. That's, yeah, no thank you. Like, it sounds so much louder than it actually is because of all the high frequencies just drilling into your ears. I should probably add some more stereo effects to this thing, so it's not just dead center mono, so I put a stereo enhancer in the delay with the time offset thing over here. Also, I stumbled onto this deep blue crusher thing that I forgot I had, and it's like, I had a problem with this that I couldn't like quite place my finger on. And I realized upon using this that it was like too high quality. I need that like Nintendo DS like fidelity level. So I just added a little bit of this, 6 samples. I don't go overboard, just a little bit less fidelity. It also gives it a little extra growl and stuff like that, so it like cuts through more. I also rewrote this because I think the melody was like too crowded. Just something simple I feel like is all I really need here. Like, I just feel like it's too distracting if I have notes that going like, you know. I also automated the samples of this thing for this and another instrument, this up here, so that they like progressively deteriorate as they go on. Oh, and I did like a little thing for the panning here so that they're not both in the same, like they're not both in the center, so I have one of these in the left and one of these in the right now. Again, the good thing about this type of song is that I don't have to worry too much about notes being correct. It's just like... like, I can just go as crazy as I want and it doesn't matter as long as it sounds like the general correct kind of like vibe I'm going for, which in this case is just kind of like insanity. And now I play a game called Put a Limiter on the Master Channel because I screwed up and I don't feel like finally adjusting every single little instrument here. Let's see, let's put it right below 0 decibels, give it a big ratio, and then should stop clipping now. There, we lost like about like we lost the audio equivalent of like 1 millimeter of fidelity, but that's fine. We're only pretending to be professionals here. We aren't actually. I could also just like slightly turn down the master instead of putting on the limiter, but then like the entire song would be slightly more quiet. I just don't want it to like peak really loud during random parts like it does here for some reason. So I'm still trying to figure out what to do for this part over here. After the deep voices, I don't know, I kind of just copied and pasted. God, I do not like the new Steam pop-up sound at all. I also copied and pasted these drums right here, the kicks, even though I already have the kicks in here, so now they're like doubled up. So they're like extra loud. And I also included the sidechaining this time so that like volumes are starting to duck out now. You can't hear the bass as good, but that's fine because there's a lot of other sounds. I don't think we have room for much of a bass line at this point. What am I even doing? I suddenly realized that when the piano comes in the chorus here, it starts to sound like a little bit too crowded, so I'm going to I normally have it so that the panning on the lead mosquito scent thing comes in over here once this happens. But I'm gonna make this come in a little bit early, around here when the piano comes in. But now it's like balanced too far into the right ear, so what I'm gonna do is this sound up here, which I normally have rotating, or not rotating, sliding between the left and right panning. I'm gonna delete this so that it stays in the left here, and then it goes back to doing the thing once like everything goes back to normal. So it sounds a little bit more balanced and less cluttered now. I mean, it's still very, very cluttered, as you can tell just by looking at it, but I'm doing what I can. I also rewrote the beginning thing here a little bit so that it mimics this melody. Which I think I like better, I'm not totally sure. The idea is so that the main melody doesn't immediately go from this like frantic thing to just... I don't know, it felt weirdly jarring to me, so like... It's like I said earlier about like stringing things together by keeping certain things similar while changing others. I changed like all of the instruments here so I at least keep a little bit of the melody so that it flows together a little bit more nicely. Okay, I think we're almost done here. So this second chorus, I'm gonna need some time to break this down. So first of all, we have this thingy, upon which I have placed a D-Blue glitch with a shuffler thing. I set minimum and maximum to half step, and when that's on, it just... Yeah, I got an automation clip for it, so it fades in like this. And then it's just, yeah, I straight up just clicked random notes for this melody thing here, if you can even call it that, and I... Like, to make it even more random, I, like, didn't have it go all the way. I, like, ended it early and then repeated it early, so it's all kinds of messed up. Now, you may remember a certain set of twin automation clips. Oh my god, where even is it? Down here, setting the crusher for the two lead instrument thingies. I'm leaving them at max for this part, so they just become, like, absolutely... Yeah, so like these are both like unused melodies that I tried over here, but then they didn't work, so I just like saved the patterns and I put them over here. The notes honestly do not even matter, like you can't even like discern. Like it's just bit crush noise, especially with all the extra sounds on top. Like you just can't even... I've got a break here where I put a crusher on the master channel. Let me show you that real quick. It's right here. So it's 8 samples, 50% smoothing, just because I like how that sounds for this. So that happens, and I removed a bunch of other instruments like the bass and the high bell thingies. I duplicated the drums again. Well, I took one of these and I made it unique and I deleted everything except for the kicks, so that the kicks would still be double layered here and here, so you can really feel that like heartbeat rhythm. And then I threw a couple of these in here. These are just me right-clicking and making the master volume automated. Then you can right-click one of these dots and make it into a pulse, and then you get these kinds of shapes. And then at the end, you got the crusher effect coming back in. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The only things I didn't really go into detail on were these volume envelopes down here. These are just controlling various instruments so that, like, this section with the deep voices, they come through a little bit more easily. I just had to like tweak this carefully until I liked how it sounded. I'm not sure why I have this going all the way over here for no reason, but I'm too afraid to change it now. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Wow, this is actually by far the most complicated song I have ever made. Look at all of these patterns down here, and then like all of the like, geez. I've never gone up to 14 mixer channels before. Most of the stuff I make is a lot more like simple than this, but I really try to go all out just to capture like that chaotic feel. I really need to stop saying the word like as much as I do. There might have been a couple of things I forgot to mention. For example, I don't think I actually said what this is. This is hum ... from Ace Attorney Sound Font.sf2, my second favorite instrument of all time. And I did some like simple panning stuff here, just like, yeah. If I did leave anything else out though, I don't think it was anything important, just minor little details like that, so you should be fine. Hopefully I have shown enough for you to learn a thing or two about making this type of music, whatever this even is. Let's give it a listen. I'm starting to realize that I took a sort of one-winged angel type approach to this. There's a video on YouTube of Nobuo Uematsu talking about how he composed that song for Final Fantasy VII, and he basically just wrote a bunch of assorted measures of melodies and stuff, and then tried to figure out how to string them all together after the fact without really worrying too much about like standard structures of songs. And that's sort of what I did here, although maybe not to as great of an extent. So I think the main takeaway from this is if you want to make this type of chaotic music, just throw everything you can at it. Don't worry too much about how individual components sounds, just make as many as you can and figure out how they can fit together. I'm sure my future self a few years from now would have been able to do this a lot better. Like, this is far from perfect, but I think it's pretty good considering this is the first time I ever really attempted a song of this nature. The most important thing is to just do it, because you can never become that future self unless you are this present self making some really weird, stupid stuff in the moment. That's how you learn, that's how you become more powerful. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you can understand why it took so long for me to make it. I've sort of abandoned the idea of adhering to like a video every week or two, because if I'm gonna be making stuff like this, that is not gonna be possible. This took me like months to make. And that means that YouTube is not going to help me out at all, so if you liked this and you think other people may also like it, feel free to share it with them, because YouTube will not help me out and recommend me to anyone naturally unless I'm uploading like 2 or 3 times a week, and that is not gonna be possible. So yeah, more videos coming at some point. I'll see you then.